You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studio from 11 a.m. to noon every Sunday, and I am your host, Angela Smarito. And before I jump into the show, I want to give a shout out to some of our show sponsors. First off, a huge thank you to Forge IT Consulting for providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business, forgeitconsulting.com. And Osteopathic Health of Orlando. They offer integrative medicine and regenerative medicine and so much more. Visit osteopathic.healthcare. Try and say that a whole bunch of times. It's not easy. So I'd like to introduce our guest. Please welcome Chelsea Welsh. Yeah. All right, this is a different title, so you guys got to pay attention. She is a Chief Marketing Officer for Florida Energy, Water, and Air. So... Hi, Chelsea.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad you're here. So there was a difference in what my introduction is for Chelsea. And so she's made a career change.
Yes.
And I think it was a very strategic career change. So go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about where you're at now.
For sure. So I'm at Florida Energy, Water, and Air. And I think what's so exciting about what we're going to talk about today is oftentimes we don't know what's in our water and how it impacts our beauty, our skin, everything we do day to day. And I'm excited to unpack that a little bit. So Chief Marketing Officer, Florida Energy, Water and Air. And we're going to talk everything water and water treatment today.
Okay. So do you have a background? I mean, I know with Renewal by Anderson, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm telling you right now, you've been playing in a man's world for as long as I've known you
Sure.
the whole time before. So you kind of went from a male industry to a male industry.
For sure. And I think anytime we think about home services or how do we kind of fit in that space, we're really looking at it from a different perspective, I think, as women. And, you know, you've been on our show before and we've talked about how do we just look at this from a different set of eyes and really make water sexy. I say it all the time. I'm like, you know, we talk so much about how much lotion we're going to put on or what special cream or serum are we going to put on our skin to stay young. And I think as we look at it, you know, our body is 70% water, you know, and oftentimes the first thing you do is brush your teeth with that water. And if it's not treated water, what are you really putting in your body? And I think for me personally, going through the journey of being a customer and having my system installed and watching my hair grow back after years after having cancer when I was in my 40s, it's making a significant personal impact in my life. And that's why I'm so excited to share that story with your listeners and really unpack what that has meant to me personally, but also to so many people in Central Florida and all over Florida.
All right.
Have that
That's
system.
really cool.
Yeah.
So the water quality played a huge significance in your skin and your hair and we all spend a lot of money on beauty products to try to keep us looking young, and we're not thinking about like the water that we're using to shower in. And I have to say, I know that after the show, I'm going to be like, all right, Tom, we need to start a little budget because we need another large home purchase. So where should we start? Let's talk a little bit about the company itself. So give us some history on it.
Yeah, for sure. So Florida Energy, Water and Air was since 1989, right?
Yep.
So has been in the markets for a very long time, providing water treatment, you know, through the RainSoft system. So the RainSoft system allows you to not only take that from the perspective of maybe we all think we're drinking good water because we have a counter water filter, right? Oh, we're putting it through that filter. This allows you.
Talking about like that little thing you stick on there and you screw it on there.
Yeah, everybody thinks, oh, we're safe, right? It's taking care of us. And the difference between one of those systems, right, that's, you know, a filtered system, and our system is for the entire home.
Right.
So when you're showering, all of those aspects, every single opening, every faucet is being through a treatment process for you to have that water softer, cleaner, better.
Okay.
And then it goes through a reverse osmosis process. So you can have an opt-in RO, which is a reverse osmosis, and allows you to be able to truly know that that water is not going to have the forever chemicals. It's not going to have those microplastics, all the things that I think we don't realize impact our bodies even greater.
Right. Well, that's the term I've heard a lot of, reverse osmosis. And they call them like OR systems and things like that you can buy and just put on your kitchen. They install them just for your kitchen sink. So what you're talking about is a system that does that for the entire house.
So the RO is separate, right? That's your drinking. That's the one that's really purifying. It's taking through a process to really strip all of that out. What I'm talking about is that's one portion of it. The other portion is for the whole home, right? Okay. You're treating the water that could then impact that hard water we have in Florida, right? Can impact your appliances. That's how we're seeing, the ability for us to have more of a longevity with our appliances because they're not dealing with all that hard calcification, all of that gets softened with a whole home system.
I'll tell you what, I grew up in West Melbourne and we had a well.
Yeah.
And it turned my hair the color of a penny.
Yeah, it's interesting. The sulfur, the nitrates, all of those things that are from the well water. And, in Florida especially, right, we have a very low water table. In the Northeast.
What does that mean, a water table?
So, that's where the water is being pulled in from, right? When you're having those crazy, a few weeks ago, we had, 19 inches of rain in a couple of hours. That runoff, right, goes into the water table. Well, in the Northeast, the water table is very deep, very similar to a deep well. So it has time to filter that water. Okay. We just have sand here, right?
Yeah.
So it's not even a filtering process. It's hitting that water table, and that water table is what's kind of being pulled in for us from a drinking perspective. Of course, they're treating it with chemicals to make it proper before it comes into our home. But, at what level are we struggling with that?
Well, you hear a lot about it in the news, and I live in Winter Springs, and there's a constant battle over the water in Winter Springs.
Absolutely.
We've had last year alone, we had several boil water alerts, which again, I'm like, that don't make you feel good when you're
scary.
I gotta boil my water, but I don't know why, where, how. I don't understand again, like I said, I don't understand why they have to add things and all that other stuff, but that actually makes sense, is that it doesn't have the time or the ability to be cleansed, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and I think the chemicals that are kind of making it better in a sense, right? Killing all the bacteria-ish.
And that's what they're trying to do when they put chemicals in it, is kill bacteria.
Absolutely. Think about it.
Okay.
Right? You're talking about it being pulled from a water table that hasn't had time to really go through a process of going through the rocks and going through all the things that's why everybody talks about the water in the Northeast is so wonderful, because the water table is so deep. It takes time. They have rocks, and it takes time, and it actually takes it through a process. We don't have that. We have sand, and then it takes the sand, it hits the water table, right? And so oftentimes when you're thinking about it, those chemicals, whether it's chlorine or whatever it is, it's going on your skin. It's going into your pores. And no wonder we have eczema. We have all of these issues. Our skin's so dry because, again, it's hard water. It has a lot of chemicals in it to make it, preferable in a sense. And then it doesn't have a way to really truly go through a treatment process.
I want to talk about that treatment process a little bit. I'm keeping an eye. We have that clock, but so I know we're getting close to break. But I'm very, very curious about what that system entails and the difference between hard water and soft water. Because when we had the well, my dad bought a soft water system. So our water didn't turn our hair a different color anymore, but it was difficult to feel like you got all the soap off of you and everything, and it felt like I was having to rinse and rinse and rinse. And so he was like, that's the difference. You're either gonna look like you got penny hair, or you're gonna feel like you. But he goes, but the soap is come off. It's just the soft water.
It feels, so I think when we look at it, every single home's going to be different, and that's why it's, for us, we love to come to the home. We want to talk about what's in your water, because when's the last time you got your water tested?
Never.
Exactly. Everybody I talk to says that, but we need to understand it, because whatever the hardness level is, we want to make sure that our system can help walk through that process.
On that note, we're going to go to break. So everybody stay tuned. We have more BaaD Radio coming up. Well, welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by BaaD Street of Winter Park. Experience EMS Fitness Studio, where it only takes 20 minutes a week to get a full body workout. Visit bodystreet.us/Winter Park for your free trial.
We want to pump you up.
I love it. Do you remember that from Saturday Night Live?
Absolutely. I think that's one of those throwbacks that, me and the most generations probably wouldn't remember that.
Well, Stefan is from Germany, obviously, so he has that voice. And so we had him in studio here, and we were having him do that audio, and he had no idea what he was doing, but he was laughing so hard. And so now we made that soundbite for him, and the last time he was on, he played it, and again, he was like laughing so hard, but he's got such a good sense of humor.
Oh, that's so much fun.
So we're here with Chelsea Welsh, and she is the Chief Marketing Officer for Florida Water, or Energy, Water, and Air. So we've been talking about water so far, and I'm not even sure if we're going to get to the energy and the air and everything like that, because like water is really kind of, is that kind of the core of the business?
When we're looking at it, I think we all have different elements of the business that we want to be a great solution to many homeowners. But I think water treatment, and especially all the conversations that are happening across every podcast in wellness and health, and we're talking about the forever chemicals, right? We're talking about PFAS. All those things are a real conversation.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't even want to talk about it because it's a scary conversation.
It is a scary conversation.
But it's simple and easy when you can know that a company since 1989 can come to your home at no cost and test your water, at least give you the education on what this is and why it's important and how we can get better, feel better. I know for me as a customer, my skin is better than it's ever been before.
Yeah.
So many times you're hearing all these individuals, I'm getting breakouts, my hair's coming out, like what's happening? It's chemicals, right? Everything we touch in the first of our day is our water, right?
No,
we brush our teeth and
take a shower and wash your dishes and all of it. So, okay, well, let's walk through the process then, because you said something about people coming to your home, and so that that's a thing in itself. So you offer a free service. When I think of it, I think of like old school, like and again, you know how you get stereotypes in your head.
Sure.
Water water systems, encyclopedias of vacuum cleaners, things like that are the things that I think of people that used to come to your door.
Yeah, just like any home service, right? We want to be able to come to your home and actually at a time that works for you and really walk through the process and physically test your water right in front of you.
Tell me about that.
It's so interesting. As a customer of Florida Energy, Water, and Air, I went through the customer journey, and I was a little embarrassed to admit that as much as I've been in home services and know a lot and been around a lot, I did not even consider this being as much of an important conversation as it is.
Right.
And so it was, and I love that I got to go through the customer journey to understand it so that.
With no previous knowledge.
Yes, because then you have no preconceived ideas to your thought and
my
your
stereotypes.
Comment. You were like, hey, is it like this? Honestly, they are professionals. They're water specialists. So they're going to come to your home. They're going to actually go to your kitchen sink and say, okay, we're going to test your water for a couple of things. Hardness. We want to see what kind of the levels of chlorine are actually in your water.
Is that what hard water is? Is water with a lot of chlorine in it?
No, the hardness has a particular chemical that they test it, and they actually tell you, is it super hard? Is it, not as hard? But that is what causes appliances to oftentimes fail, because you're talking about your water heater full of that kind of that scum and that thickness.
Right.
It's coming from the hardness of your water. And in Florida, we're just indicative of super hard water, especially if it's coming from a city water system or, a well that's not as deep. I mean, there's all of these factors. But it was like a science experiment, and it's great if you have kids because they really not only educate you, but they allow you to test the water. He went through all of these different tests. And for me, there was a couple of things that really resonated. He could tell I'm a huge coffee drinker, that I loved my espresso. I'm Italian, right? Who doesn't
Yeah.
like espresso? Who doesn't like, cappuccinos?
Oh, girl, I got an espresso machine at
Right?
the house. Yeah.
Me too. And so he saw that and he was like, when you taste the coffee with rain soft water that's more going through a system, it's going to be really interesting how much different it tastes versus when you run it through, say, your filter from your refrigerator that's really not doing much for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no way. And so, of course, we made espresso. And so not only did he take me through the process of testing the water and then showing me, once you see it, you can't unsee it. I'm just going to tell you that very moment, I'm like, I don't care what I have to do, but I'm never going to drink that water again, because I had the misconception that water coming out of the filter in my refrigerator was safe.
Right.
It's not. It's the same as drinking that tap water. It just makes it smell a little different.
Yeah. How do
It's
they get
crazy.
the metal taste? Like, I can't drink this. I can't drink tap water because it has like a metal
it's
kind of.
gross.
Yeah.
You could smell it. So he took me through that process and showed me what was in my water, did all the tests, tested the chlorine levels. They were through the roof. It was so embarrassing because, of course,
Why would
here
that
I
be
am.
embarrassing?
Because here I am thinking I should have known this, right? I should have known. I did smell it. It did smell
Yeah.
off. I did feel it on my skin. My skin was always super dry. I really never really grew back my hair until recently. And I just always assumed it was something else. I never took a moment to prioritize how impactful it could be for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm so excited with my new role and really looking at how do we tell the story in an authentic way, the way I got to experience it. So they go through the testing just like as if you were doing a science experiment with the beaker and the whole, like when we were kids, So it was so fun to go through the process and be educated on something that, I know a lot about a lot, but I didn't know about water. And I don't think there's a lot of people that do know the importance and what it could do for you. I'm a little bit of a water snob now. I take my Stanley everywhere. I'm carrying my water. I call it, rain soft water, but I take it everywhere because I love to drink it. It has a great taste. I don't feel like I'm like foggy anymore. It almost has done a
if it can
160 for me.
fix brain fog, I'm on board. What about like bottled water and stuff like that? That's not even.
No, because it's in a plastic and it's who knows how long it's been sitting out there. So that's the thing. He tested because, of course, I had a case of bottled water because, of course, that's what I used to take with me. And it was like, you've got to be kidding me. That water is the same. It has no difference. Like, yes, it wasn't as hard as my water coming out of the tap, but it tested to have the same gross stuff that the other stuff did. And I was, again, really embarrassed because here I was thinking I was doing the right thing. And now, again, water snob Chelsea, it's just so different to feel good about what I'm drinking. I start my day off. I'm more hydrated than ever before. And I'm really excited. I think it really kickstarted my health journey and really getting healthier, slowing down a little bit, right? But helping me with the brain fog and all of those things. And, I can really attribute it back to starting that journey of, hey, this is making a big difference in my personal life. And I think that, again, is why I'm extremely excited to talk about it on your show, but also really challenge every homeowner, every person. When was the last time you got your water tested? And to your point, you're like, I don't want to do it. I get it.
It's not that I don't want to. I'm in complete transparency. I'm like, there's so many things for the house, and I'm just like, I know that as soon as I see it, I'm going to be like, I can't do this. And the first thing that comes to my mind, honestly, is the expense. And so that's something I want to talk about.
I think we should.
Yeah.
I think that we have to talk about that because a lot of times they'll walk you through the process where if you're saving money, right, on your appliance longevity, if you're saving money because you don't have to use as much soap, right? All of these factors, and it was an education for me, and he asked a lot of those questions. How much are you using in soap? How much are you using in cleaning products? Because you're not going to have all those hard water stains everywhere or all of those yucky pink rings in the toilet. all of those are gone because the hard water is no longer at that level. It's going through a treatment process. And so
we're actually going to have to go to that. Hear that. We're going to go to break. So save that thought.
I will.
Save that thought.
I will.
We'll be right back. We have more BaaD Radio coming up. Welcome back, and this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. Do you know what your sprinkler system did last night? Probably not. So now's a good time to get your system serviced by Ground Up Property Services today. And be sure to ask Rick Hall with Ground Up about a water sensor too, so your lawn doesn't get too much water. Call 407-468-4295 or visit groundupinc.net. And we are just about done with their new website, and I'm telling you, it is going to be fabulous. And so we're having a great conversation with Chelsea Welsh, and she's a Chief Marketing Officer for Florida Energy, Water, and Air. And we're really talking about the water today. That's, you know what I mean? That's kind of like the basis of stuff. But I mean, what I was talking to you before the break was, you know, this sponsor is for the lawn water.
Mm-hmm.
Is regular hard water okay for your lawn too?
Yeah. So the way the system works is it ties into your main water line that goes into your home. And then the separate line is the lines that are going into the irrigation. So it's different. So the irrigation is run off a different system.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But I meant the hard water doesn't hurt grass and stuff, right?
Nope.
Because
it actually has the minerals that the grass and some of the lawn needs.
The thing that I think about, though, when you're talking about Florida and it having like shallow thing is, okay, so we have a storm, we have all this runoff. There's so much nastiness that comes with that water because it's like filtering through the earth, through the dead animals, through they're going to the bathroom and it going into a system and it not being properly filtered before it comes to us. And that is the part that grosses me out. So during that testing, I mean, do you guys gross the customer out? Just being like, it's more of like the chemicals.
True. Yeah, it's true chemicals and scientific way of looking at it. Because again, they're treating it at whatever the treating facilities are at that level, what is deemed they're safe, right? And then we're receiving it with, you know, the chlorine and all the things to get rid of that bacteria. So for us, it's the chlorine, it's the forever chemicals, the stuff that can't be removed out of that water, right? Whether you have it in your well water, whether you have it, you know, in your city water. There's a really interesting website called the EWG website.
EWG, okay.
And you can actually go to that website, and if you put, you know, what's in your tap water, EWG, you can put your zip code, and you can select where you're actually getting your water from, whether it's, you know, for me, I'm getting it from a particular water facility because I live closer to Mount Dora. And you can actually put your zip code in. It'll tell you all of what is in that water.
I want to do
and
that.
And it also,
what is it called again?
The EWG website. So if you just put EWG water, what's in your water, it'll actually put your zip code. It'll tell you. The other thing is, you know, your service, whoever you buy your water from, has to list those things.
Yeah.
And you see it on the bill. And sometimes you just kind of glance over it because all of us went to digital bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's there. And it'll tell you what is actually in that water. And if it is super high at certain levels, super whatever it is, it's there. And it's very eye-opening. And it went through that process. And it was just like, why didn't I see this earlier? Why didn't I
you shouldn't
search?
have blamed yourself, though, because like,
But I think we all do. Because think about it, I knew my skin was not right. I knew I started getting eczema, and I'm like, what? Why do I feel a certain way? Why do I not want to drink this water? My little puppies, that's what got me. When he took me and he goes, let's let them try rain soft water. And I'm like, what in the world? And he had a mini purifying system so that he could show me the difference. My dogs would barely drink their water. I would try to give it to them. They would, even bottled water, they were barely drinking it.
Yeah, we only give our animals bottled water.
Same, but they still were finicky with it. Mm-hmm. So I gave them rain soft water, and they drink that water up bone dry. They love it.
Aww.
So I think that, he understood what was important to me as a person. And not only did he take the time to educate me and my family, but he allowed me to see it authentically with my own eyes. There wasn't, oh, how about this and how about, there was that non, kind of conversation, like you said, from your stereotype. It's about education.
Yeah.
It's about bringing a better quality water to your home to help your family.
Yeah. See, I'm not into scare tactics. And that's the one thing is like,
No.
I told you, I'm not going to name any names of it, but I used to like help produce a show and they were scare tact city. Like they would just say, if you are doing this or you're doing that, you're killing your family. And you're like, oh my God. And you're like, I gotta stop, like.
No,
and then
you don't want to deal with that anxiety. And I think for us, it's let's go through that customization conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about what's really in your water. The water test is the top thing that I think everyone should get, right? Then you're more educated on what's there, and then you can make a decision from there.
I'm curious, in your situation, did you go to each of the places of water in your house? Is if the water is one way in one room, is it going to be the same in the other, or does it have to do with like interior pipes?
So he tested in multiple areas, and it was the same because it's coming from the same water main, right? And so that was interesting. How much of like a sediment was sitting, and I'll show you pictures. You're going to be like, "What in the world?" Because it allows you to see it in a unique way. I think the biggest, most extreme aha moment for me was he asked me he tested the water and he showed me what level the chlorine was at.
Right.
Then he said, okay, take the water, put your finger in the water, okay, take it out, and we're going to retest it. And when he retested the water where I had just put my finger in and pulled out, guess how much chlorine was in that water versus the water that was the regular water? And this is out of your tap.
Right. So did some of it cling to your finger, or did
it went right into my pores?
Wow. So
right into my pores. And it was like, what in the world? So I'm bathing in this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm showering in this. I'm brushing my teeth in this. I'm drinking out of my quote unquote filter from my refrigerator, and it is all this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just those aha moments and education that I was so thankful for, because I think without that, we don't know.
Right.
But I think so many people have this stereotype, oh my gosh, they're going to scare me to death. I don't know that I want to do this. It's going to be this whole thing. But I think for me, him understanding me as a person, understanding the things that were important, my dogs, my family, I love coffee, it was amazing for him to show me the water spots that were on all of my glasses, because again, you're washing your glasses with dirty water to hope they're going to be clean, and they're not. And those spots are hard to get off because it's hard water sticking to that. So everything that I cook now, because I'm boiling in that,
pure water.
I'm making sure the food tastes better. So for you foodies out there, it's a game changer.
Yeah, we are. We're
the
foodies.
Pasta is unreal because you don't have to boil it in chlorine anymore. Like all the little things that I'm appreciating, Angela, was like, oh my gosh, where was this forever for me? Because I'm a foodie. I make fresh pasta. I make my own sauce. It was a big deal.
You just don't really realize how many touches you have in a day until you start to really look at it.
You're washing your hands, but you're washing your hands in dirty water. There's all of these factors. And I'm like, when I saw it and I couldn't unsee it is when I was like, okay, this is absolutely for me. And, and I think you made a good point on the investment, but the amount of dollars that they'll show you that it could save you over a lifetime, right, is a no-brainer. Because again, they have all kinds of different options that they can help facilitate, but they have the ability to educate you on how do you get this and make it an affordable part of what you do day to day, and the benefit of the savings, the hours of scrubbing those hard water stains off of your shower. I could not get them off. Now they're not even there. It's like all of that went away.
That's really cool.
It was so cool. And then it was what really made me even more excited is as we were going through the install process, right? They're so knowledgeable and they just walk you through the process in every way. It has a fun app. So it tells me, here, this level is at this or whatever. So you can be really educated, for those that like that.
You're kidding. Is it really break time already?
I know.
All right.
We love our conversation.
All right. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back with more BaaD Radio, so stay tuned. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar, and with 4 great locations, there is bound to be one near you. And you don't want to miss out on Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, never frozen. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's Grill and Bar. Hop in with food and fun.
Yeah, boy.
That's right. Yeah, boy. All right, we're here with my friend Chelsea Welsh. She's the Chief Marketing Officer for Florida Energy, Water, and Air. And we've been having just like a really down and dirty conversation about dirty water.
Great lead in, Angela.
And the thing is like we're talking about the women thing, and I'm sitting there thinking about like my girly parts. I'm like, I'm watching myself and all of that. I'm like, no, that's not got to be good for me either, because you got to worry about pH and all that sort of thing. So, there's more than just health on the outside. There's health on the inside and stuff, too.
And what you're putting in your body, too, because you're drinking that, right? If you're drinking it, you're putting it inside your body, and it could be impacting a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, there's places that I call sick homes. It's like people are chronically sick.
Yeah, and they don't know why.
All the time.
Right? They don't know why.
They're getting their house tested for mold. They don't have mold. They get their house tested for asbestos, and there's no, you know what I mean? And they can't figure out. And I'm like, I bet you, now that we have this conversation, I bet you it's their water.
Yeah, you never know. And I think that's the benefit of a complimentary water test.
Yeah.
Well,
before, the 30 seconds goes by and we're done. Let's talk about the install, kind of that whole scenario. And I want to talk about the different, let's just mention the products that are available in case you don't have a budget to start out big, but you want to put in like an OR system just for your drinking water, or if that's even a thing, I don't know. And then if there are financing options, and then where to go. So we got it. Let's talk about that.
Yeah,
so
for
first,
sure.
Let's talk about the install situation and what the system is that you got for your home.
Yeah, I got the complete system. So, for me, I wanted to make sure that I had a whole home system that was going through what we call our EC5. So it went through a actual system that tapped into the main. So when the installers came, they were super kind.
In the garage? So
mine's outside. So some homes, if your home's a little newer, they actually have systems set up where it's easy to tap right in the garage.
Mine's in 1980. So
mine's 2007, and it had to be put outside. But what was great is, we all have these HOAs in some cases that are really tough. And for me, it was a tough HOA. So what they did is from the main, they trenched a line so that it could be put on the side of the home, because our HOA,
out of view. Is that why?
Because
okay.
Well, they're tall. They're not super tall, but they're tall enough, little round cylinder towers. And so what they did is they trenched it over so that way it was on the side of the home over there, kind of where your irrigation and things are.
Yep.
And then they actually buried it halfway, so it wasn't so tall.
And it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't.
The unit.
It's
really
meant
cool
for that. So then they buried it where it was halfway. So it looks like it was a part of our irrigation system or a vent system, so that it didn't attract, the HOA or be of any concern.
Right. And
so
you didn't have to fence something in to hide it.
No,
So-
it was beautiful. Their install was flawless. It was like they never were there. And they trenched all the way around. They were super careful with my irrigation. They made sure not to damage any of my flowers. Then they put it all back together like it wasn't even touched. And
That's
from
great.
before and after is beautiful.
Yeah.
The system's amazing. I think for me, I wanted to have the full system. That I wanted the reverse osmosis, the RO that was installed right next to my regular sink, because I wanted the specialized removal of all of that microplastics, all of the things
Right.
that I know everyone's talking about, and PFAS. And I mean, there's so many podcasts in wellness that are talking about what's in your water.
And so, because our hot water heater is in our garage, so I didn't think about it actually hitting the water before it got to the hot water heater, and it can actually increase the longevity of our hot water heater.
Absolutely, because that hardness, which is what kind of causes those things to break or prematurely not work properly, right? Because if you think about it, Here's your unit, your heating unit on the inside of your hot water heater.
Right.
If it's packed full of
Gunk.
thick sediment, right? We just saw pictures I was showing you of the sediment. How long does it take to then have to heat the sediment, then heat the unit, and then heat your water?
I want you to send me those pictures.
Yeah,
Because I'll put on
it's
the YouTube.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I literally was mortified when I'm like, that's what I'm drinking.
I think
It's
you're
gross.
a little too hard on yourself.
I am, because I'm like, I should know. But what was awesome about the fact of longevity is, we went through the flushing process and got all of that junk out. And now because it's clean, right? And now it's got rain soft water coming through it. I don't have to worry about, is it going to have to work overtime? So now it's going to save on my electricity, right? Because it's not
Did your
having
bill
to.
go down?
Now, well, I'm 4 weeks in, so
Okay.
I'm about to check it because I
Okay.
think it will, because water
It doesn't
heaters
have to work out all that stuff. Okay.
no. So all of those little factors are why I feel like not only is it a great investment, but it's going to save you money over time. The pure fact that there's lots of options, and they can walk through that perspective on financing or whatever it is, whatever your particular case is. But they really will break it down from the perspective of how it's going to save you money, how it's going to extend the longevity of your appliances, and how it really, you can be aware of what's really in that water. And I think that's what I loved about it, that it was an education process, that it wasn't about, oh my gosh, we got to do this, this, and this, but they really broke it down in a simple way for me to understand. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I'm just telling you.
So are you able to buy it, like, let's start with just like an RO system for your kitchen, for your drinking water?
It depends on your particular home. So,
Okay.
the best thing to do is to have our water specialists come out and look at it because, again, every home is fashioned a little different. So
Yeah.
I don't want to get everyone all excited and say, do this, this, and that. I'd rather you call. Let the professional come out and actually test your water first. That's the first thing. Let's make sure that, you have the right water that you should be drinking.
Right.
You'd be surprised, as I was, living in a beautiful HOA, not in town, out of town, right?
Yeah.
I assumed that my water was fine, right? You go and let's test for lead. Let's test for all this that the city does. But guess what? I was not thinking about what other chemicals are in that water. Just because there wasn't lead doesn't mean there's not
Well, it's
tons.
good there was no lead, but that doesn't mean, like you
No.
said, other.
I'm drinking pool water pretty much because
Oh,
the chlorine levels were so high. I might as well just dip from the pool because that's what it
And
was.
you put that in your espresso
I was
machine.
like, no wonder my coffee was tasting nasty. And because I love Italy, right? We talk about how much Italy is a part of my life. And I would go there and I'm like, the coffee here's so amazing, right? Because I'm not drinking chemicals. It's different over there. And so here, now that I have, rain soft water, the taste of the coffee, like it's a game changer.
Well, I want to get.
You're coming over.
I'll definitely come over, but I want to get my water tested, and I want to film
Yes.
it.
You need
so
to do
that
it.
I can see the before and after, and I want to make a cup of coffee. Like I want to run an espresso. I mean, we put tap water. We don't put tap water in our espresso machine anyway, but I'm still curious from the bottled water
Yeah.
to
It's
soft,
so
the
different.
soft water.
It's so different. You're going to be like, this is crazy.
Mm.
The other thing you're going to love is just the pure fact of how well your skin's going to feel.
I'm down with that too. All right. So we're back down to, I can't even believe it, a minute 30, 20. So go ahead and give the audience all of your contact information and how to get in touch. If they want to do some research. So your website, your socials, and then, like I said, how to get somebody out there.
Yeah, the best way, and you'll remember this because I think as people hear things, they're like, what do I write down? myfewa.com, myfewa.com. You're going to go there. All of our stuff's there, our social, everything, our blogs, everything about what we do. That's where you can go and request for them to come out and do a complimentary water test. Do it. I'm going to challenge you all. Do it, do it, do it. I was blown away. And they're going to walk you through the process. It's nothing to be scared about. It's really something that we all need to embrace as we're continuing to make sure that we're, healthy and well and with clear minds. And I love that portion of what I get to do.
And that is what we need. So thanks so much for
you,
coming in today. It's
Angela.
been great. And I want to give a huge thank you to all of our sponsors. And as always, remember to support local.